I do love a dead body being found underneath the house. I mean, let's be honest here. You guys want to take bets on me referencing a Murder, She Wrote episode? I'm team uncover the dark secret your mother took to the grave. Thank you very much. I have been talking about this book since she announced it because I am all in. There is also a level of relatability. Bear with me. I know I'm talking about murder. I'm just going to keep saying it. This year is crushing the new releases. I love a body under the house. I love a body mysteriously showing up in somebody else's vacation home. Not mine, but somebody else is totally fine with that. Hi everybody, it's Audrey and welcome back to Chapter and Converse and welcome to another round of what is new this month. So we are of course talking about all the new releases coming out in April. There are so many books to talk about, you guys, and I am so excited to be partnering with Book of the Month on today's video. So every month, Book of the Month curates a collection of new releases, early releases, debut authors, authors that you know and love across all genres, and now you can get your first book for only $5 using the code PASTEL. So you guys know I'm a huge fan of Book of the Month. I have absolutely discovered some new to me authors. I have taken a leap and stepped outside of my comfort zone of thrillers. And I have also gone back to some of my authors that I know and love. They have such a fantastic selection of hardcover books. And now they also feature a curated collection of audiobooks. So you get to choose an audiobook or a hardcover book. Again, only $5 using the code PASTEL this month. And I, of course, have a couple books to talk about that I picked up this month. So let me just put my box over here, and then we can talk about the books. So you guys know my first love is a thriller, but I'm telling you this spring, love is in the air for me, and this is something that I love about Book of the Month. So first up, I'm gonna spend some time with an old friend of mine, Abby Jimenez. This is her newest book just for the summer. I actually discovered Abby through Book of the Month a couple of years ago. So excited, I totally went out on a limb for me, and I fell in love with her storytelling, her characters. She weaves in weightiness, but also fantastic humor in her stories, and I have not looked back since then. So I was very excited to see her as a repeat author this month. And then I also found someone who is new to me, and this is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kuang. So she is a screenwriter and a director, but this is her debut. It is a book about a writer, which is basically all I needed to know. It also looks like it's going to weave in some heavier, weightier topics. We have sort of some family dynamics happening here. We have a past relationship with someone that's coming back into the present. So I'm really excited about it. But one of my favorite things about Book of the Month is I am introduced to new authors. It's a great opportunity to sort of get out of your comfort zone a little bit, maybe take a little bit of a leap, and I promise you're going to find something that you are going to love. So again, you can get your first book for only $5 using the code PASTEL. I will include a link to their website down below. The code is down below. I will also include a link to their podcast down below, which I absolutely love. And just a reminder, you guys, they have a curated collection of audiobooks, so you can pick an audiobook or a hardcover. You guys know I live for an audiobook. It is my favorite way to consume books when I am out and about, going on my walks. It's a great way for me to continue going for a walk. So be sure to check out their entire collection. Shipping is always free. It is an absolute no-brainer. Go check out Book of the Month. And thank you again to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. So we're going to talk a little bit more about these, which are both April releases, and we're going to talk about a whole bunch more now. The first book I have is A Game of Lies by Clare Mackintosh, and this is a DC Fionn Morgan book. So The Last Party was the first book in this series, and I absolutely loved it. So you guys might remember me talking about it. That was a book where the book itself took place on New Year's Day, and I started reading it on New Year's Day because I thought that would be fun, and it totally was. But that one had a dead body floating in Mirror Lake, and the border between England and Wales is through the lake. So there became a question of whose jurisdiction was it. So we had a DC from Wales who was Fionn, and then we had a DC from England. And obviously a little bit heavy on police investigation, which I absolutely love. But this book also packed so much good humor, warmth, a lot of family situation in it. There's a great Fionn and her mother relationship in that book that I totally enjoyed. Murder investigation, small town secrets, kind of rich people behaving badly and creeping in on the small town in Wales, and I absolutely loved it. So I'm excited to find out what happens in this one. Yes, I absolutely had to get my hands on it earlier, and I ordered it from the UK, and yes, I absolutely have not read it yet, so I cannot tell you what, if anything, from the first book might be discussed in this one, but I feel like all sequels are or all books and series are set up that you can enter at any point. So if this one sounds intriguing to you, I would definitely give it a go. So in this one, it says, "They say the camera never lies, but on this show, you can't trust anything you see." So we have a bunch of reality show contestants who are stranded in the Welsh mountains, and they have no idea what they've signed up for. So one of the contestants winds up disappearing and Fionn gets called in. And it says she has to put aside what she's already seen on screen and find out who these people really are, knowing she can't trust any of them. So she winds up investigating everyone. This is like a reality TV show that's being broadcast and things start going bad. So she starts to get involved. And because we are taking place in the same kind of, the line between Wales and England kind of runs through where they are staying and where this camp is, I suspect we might get a repeat performance from Leo, who was the DC in the first book. So we'll find out, but I'm very excited for this one. And then the next book, which I also physically have, as you guys will know, this is Abby Jimenez. This is just for the summer. So I am excited to read some more of her. I am delinquent on catching up on her backlist, and here I am with a great new frontlist book, so I'm super excited about it. So she definitely brings warmth, really strong characters, really great humor. She's another one of those authors that for me weaves in weightiness and more serious subject matter into stories that also have some levity and have relatability in their characters, and I really like her storytelling. So in this one, we have 4 dates, a kiss, and a breakup. So we have 2 people that both seem to be having a bit of bad luck in the love department and both believe that they are cursed. So Emma is in a situation where every guy she dates, after they break up, they wind up finding the true love of their life. And then for Justin, it says, in his Reddit thread about being love's good luck charm, he's also sort of in the same position. So they decide if they date each other and then break up, they will deactivate the curses that they both seem to have. And we all know how a fake dating book tends to go. So we will find out where this one goes. I don't want to know too much, but it says, has fate finally brought the perfect pair together, or will their cure be way more hazardous than the curse itself? Words. So I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, I'm a big fan of hers, and I'm excited to see what she's done with this book, and I'm excited to have it in hand. So the next book I have is Nothing Without Me by Helen Takhar, and it says she's dying to be famous. I love a Hollywood fame book. So in this one, we have April is about to have the night of her life. Her debut movie, The Vanished Woman, is up for a major British film award, placing her firmly on Hollywood's radar. Her leading lady, Essie, a fragile but magnetic former TV host, is on the cusp of a stunning comeback after being canceled for a disturbing scandal. But Essie texts April and says she can't face the ceremony. So April winds up going to her palatial London mansion to persuade her to enjoy their big night together, but when she gets there, she finds Essie floating in the swimming pool, all signs pointing to suicide. So panicked, April activates Essie's team, expecting them to do damage control while she heads to the awards ceremony. She's devastated but determined to protect Essie's legacy. But by the time April returns to Essie's house to face the fallout, her body has vanished. Dun dun dun. Was she actually murdered? Is this an elaborate hoax or a publicity stunt gone terribly wrong? And why does April start receiving unsettling messages trying to pin the blame on her? I'm so intrigued. I do love a famous person story. I do love a missing body story. You guys want to take bets on me referencing a Murder, She Wrote episode? Where Jessica finds a dead body and it just keeps on disappearing. So anyway, super intrigued by this one. I randomly came across it. The cover totally grabbed my attention. And here we are, talking about it. The next book I have is The Sicilian Inheritance by Jo Piazza. Now, I feel like on the surface, this probably doesn't look like an auto-buy for Audrey, but I was listening to the ladies on Bad on Paper, and Olivia was talking about this book, and I'm totally intrigued, and it absolutely is on my radar now. So in this one, we have Sarah Marsala barely knows who she is anymore after the failure of her business and her marriage. So on top of that, her beloved great Aunt Rosie passes away, leaving Sarah bereft with grief. But Aunt Rosie's death also opens an escape from her life and a window into the past by way of a plane ticket to Sicily, a deed to a possibly valuable plot of land, and a bombshell family secret. Rosie believes Sarah's great-grandmother, Serafina, the family matriarch who was left behind while her husband worked in America, didn't die of illness, as family lore has it, but that she was murdered. So we wind up getting like a super twist-filled adventure, it says, and we get to see things from Serafina's point of view and then Sarah investigating it. And it says, as Sarah discovers more about Serafina, she also realizes she's coming head-to-head with the same menacing forces that took down her great-grandmother. At once an immersive, multi-generational mystery and an ode to the undaunted heroism of everyday women, The Sicilian Inheritance is an atmospheric, page-turning delight. So it's like mystery, it's historical fiction, it's dual timelines. It feels like kind of like I love a finding yourself novel, a clean slate, a starting over. Things have gone horribly wrong. You're going on an adventure. You're kind of running away from your life, but you wind up finding yourself in the process. I don't know. I'm super excited about it. So again, this cover totally grabbed my attention, but I trust Olivia's opinions, recommendations, and when she talked about this book with like such immense passion, I also got really excited about it. So stay tuned because I'm absolutely going to be picking this one up. And she talked about in the podcast how Joe Piazza's own great-grandmother was the inspiration for this story. So there's like personal family history to this, which is woven into the family history of the story. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this one. The next book I have is Bless Your Heart by Lindy Ryan, and this one is described as Southern charm with a bite and gasp-worthy delight. So a bit of a mystery horror set in 1999 in Southeast Texas. And we have the Evans women, who are the owners of the only funeral parlor in town. And they're keeping steady with some normal business. So the dead die, you bury them, end of story. That's how it's been done for the last 80 years. But when town gossip Mina Jean Murphy's body is brought in for a regular burial and she rises from the dead instead, it's clear that the original vampires are back. And the Evans women are the ones who need to fight back to protect their town. So I feel like the fangs on the cover maybe gave away a bit of the vampire angle of this one. So it says, as more folks in town turn up dead and Deputy Roger Taylor begins asking way too many questions, are Evans women, I don't know if they're sisters, Ducey, Lenore, Grace, and now Luna, must take up their blades and figure out who is behind the vampire's return. As the saying goes, what rises up must go back down. But as unspoken secrets and revelations spill from the past into the present, the Evans family must face that sometimes the dead aren't the only things you want to keep buried. So I just totally, again, grabbed by the cover. I will not stop talking about how great the covers are this year, you guys. And this sounded like a fun, again, a little bit out of my normal realm, but I feel like there's going to be some great wit and humor to this. And who doesn't love a little Southern charm with some snark and some bite, right? Okay, and now for my second book of the month pick, I have How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kuang. So when I read the blurb on this book, I was totally intrigued because give me a book about writers, I'm totally here for it. Sounds like a bit of an enemies to lovers, but also with a lot of weightiness to it. I need a book that's going to kind of crush me in a lot of different ways. So I picked this one up. And I'm also excited because I had seen that. So Yulin Kuang herself is a screenwriter and a director. I believe this is her first novel, but she's been writing for a long time. And she is the adapting screenwriter for Emily Henry's People We Meet on Vacation and the writer-director for the forthcoming Beach Read. So anyone who is Team Emily Henry, I am on their team. So in this one, we have Helen hasn't seen Grant once in the 13 years since the tragic accident that bound their lives together forever. So Helen is now a best-selling author, and her books are being turned into a TV show. It took me a beat there. So she has scored a coveted spot in the writer's room for her TV show adaptation. She wrote a bunch of young adult novels, and she's got a bit of imposter syndrome. She's convinced her life will fall into place if she can kind of just get past that. And then who does she see who's working on this project but Grant? So Grant has tried to move on from the past. He knows he shouldn't have taken the job on Helen's show, but he took it anyway, so he's intentionally there to see her. And what we're going to find out is, I think, some past secrets, some current challenges maybe of them being together. And there's going to be, and again, I'm like trying to read this with like one eye half closed, some challenges with their family, how they are connected, what the tragedy was that brought them together. So I'm very intrigued by this one. Like I said, I'm super intrigued that she's working on Emily Henry stuff. And also in her bio, it says she was once fired from a Hallmark movie for being, quote, too hip for Hallmark. So I maybe am jumping ahead 10 steps, but I kind of feel like maybe there'll be some good humor, weightiness, I'm excited for the writing, and I'm excited for this book. But give me a book about writers, give me a second chance romance, give me a little bit of like enemies to lovers, I think, more than second chance. And I'm here for it. The warm and fuzzy side of me is ready for romantic spring, you guys. With weightiness. Has to be weighty. So there you go. Next up is book 5 in a series. This is Close to Death by Anthony Horowitz. This is his Horowitz Hawthorne series. So this is his series where he is a self-insert. He is himself with just like some good humor wrapped around it. And he is kind of the Watson to Hawthorne, who used to be a detective, who in book number 1 hires Horowitz to write his biography. And they wind up kind of being caught up in a murder case. And it's just great humor, great wit. I am totally a little bit behind in the series, but that will not stop me from being excited about this book. So I don't want to talk about what this book is actually about because I don't know if it's going to give away anything from previous books, but I really enjoy the humor in this series. I was a huge fan of Magpie Murders. That was my first Anthony Horowitz book, but there is definitely like some real charm to this. I've talked about these books before, but Horowitz uses things from his real life, whether it's shows he's working on, shows he has worked on. His wife is in this, like his actual agent, like he uses their names and everything and plays with it. He just seems to have such a sharp sense of humor. So I do love the amateur detective, or the writer with the detective kind of being the amateur. Always reminds me a little bit of Castle, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. So if you are looking for solid mysteries, great British wit and humor, and just a series that's like so easy to dive into and have a fun time with, I would highly recommend these. And if you're already reading them, book 5's coming out. So there you go. The next book I have is The One That Got Away with Murder by Trish Lundy. So this is a YA thriller, and it says, cross your heart and hope to survive. I love these taglines on books. Whoever writes these, I just love them. I love them, I love them, I love them. So it says, Robbie and Trevor Cressmount have a body count, the killer kind. Handsome and privileged, the Cressmount brothers have enough wealth to ensure they'll never be found guilty of any wrongdoing, even if all of Happy Valley believes they're behind the deaths of their ex-girlfriends. First, there was soccer star Victoria Moreno, Robbie's ex, who mysteriously drowned at the family lake house. Then, a year later, Trevor's girlfriend died of a suspicious overdose. But the Cressmounts aren't the only ones with secrets. Lauren O'Brien might be the new girl at school, but she's never been a good girl. With a dark past of her own, she's desperate for a fresh start. Except when she starts a no-strings-attached relationship with Robbie, her chance is put in jeopardy. During what's meant to be their last weekend together, Lauren stumbles across shocking evidence that just might implicate Robbie. Danger is closing in. Lauren doesn't know who to trust, and she's at risk of being another cautionary tale. So it says, edge of your seat debut thriller. This definitely sounds on the dark and delicious side. And it says perfect for fans of Karen McManus and Holly Jackson. You guys know I love me some Holly Jackson. So there you go. The One That Got Away with Murder. I am currently on a How to Get Away with Murder rewatch obsession. I'm rewatching it and I'm totally loving it. I can't think of the right word. So anyway, the title grabbed my attention because of my current rewatch, and I'm excited for it. You guys know I love me a YA thriller. The next book is One of Us Knows by Alyssa Cole. So this has every dark, sinister vibe I want on the cover of a book. I feel like we're going to get a bit of an And Then There Were None vibe to it. I read her book When No One Is Watching, which was wonderfully sinister and dark and very well done. And I'm hearing nothing but rave reviews about this from people who already have the arc. So in this one, it is a thriller about a new caretaker of a historic estate who finds herself trapped on an island with a murderer and the ghosts of her past. Yes, 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 yes. That honestly is all I would need to know about this book, but a little bit more for you guys. So this is about, I want to say it's Kenetria Nash. She goes by Ken. So it says she's being given a second chance, a position as a resident caretaker of a historic home, reminding me a little bit of The Only One Left by Riley Sager, with our caretaker who gets a second chance taking care of Leonora. So we'll see. So it says a surprise visit from the home's conservation trust happens just as a nor'easter bears down on the island and disrupts her newfound life, leaving Ken trapped with a group of possibly dangerous strangers, including the man who brought her life tumbling down years earlier. When he turns up dead, Ken is the prime suspect. Caught in a web of secrets and in a race against time, Ken and her alters must band together to prove their innocence and discover the truth of Kavanaugh Island and of their own past, or they risk losing not only their futures, but their lives. So, just a little suggestion if anybody's looking for one already. If you saw my bingo video, you know rain delay is one of my prompts, so a book that has rain, a nor'easter, absolutely would qualify for that. So if you're looking for something new, which is also a prompt, and something with rain in it, maybe this is an option for you guys, and it would also satisfy Thriller Fest. So a whole bunch of things happening here. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love it, and then there were none trope. I love it, I love it, I love it. Very excited. And in a complete 180, we have our friend Emily Henry, funny story, definitely a most anticipated book of mine in 2024. Absolutely pre-ordered this when it was first announced, and I'm very excited to dive into it. So this is about a pair of opposites with the wrong thing in common. So it says, Daphne has always loved the way her fiancé Peter told their story, how they met on a blustery day, fell in love over an errant hat, and moved back to his lakeside hometown to begin their life together. He really was good at telling it, right up until the moment he realized he was actually in love with his childhood best friend, Petra, which is how Daphne begins her new story. Stranded in beautiful Waning Bay, Michigan, without friends or family, but with a dream job as a children's librarian, and proposing to be roommates with the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles Nowak. Scruffy and chaotic, with a penchant for taking solace in the sounds of heartbreak love ballads. Miles is exactly the opposite of practical, buttoned-up Daphne, whose coworkers know so little about her they have a running bet that she's either FBI or in witness protection. The roommates mainly avoid one another until one day, while drowning in their sorrows, they form a tenuous friendship and a plan. If said plan also involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their summer adventures together, well, who could blame them? But of course, it's all for show. So fake dating, trying to make their exes jealous. I can only hope that they're going to fall in love with each other. I love Emily Henry. I'm such a fan of hers. I was very late to the party on her and was definitely like, where have I been all this time? So this is an auto buy for me. This is an auto read for me. I'm really, really excited about it. There again is something about her books, which reminds me of Abby, where we get such warmth, such relatability. I can see myself in different characters that she writes. The humor is so spot on. The emotions are so raw and real. Like, there is a reason why her books have skyrocketed and connect with so many people. She, to me, is in a class all of her own and just writes the most incredible books. So, goes without saying, even though I've been talking about it. I'm so excited for this one. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. She has definitely become a staple in my like springtime reading when her books come out. So I very much look forward to her books, and I'm looking forward to this one. Another author who I absolutely love is Sally Hepworth. This is Darling Girls. So she also writes incredible characters. There can be some good humor to her books. She is such a strong writer, great stories, great twists. She definitely writes with a sinister edge, unlike Emily Henry, and I am always here for the twisty murder and mystery and secrets that she has in her books. So this one is about three sisters, Jessica, Nora, and Alicia. And it says, for as long as they can remember, they've been told how lucky they are. As young girls, they were rescued from family tragedies and raised by a loving foster mother, Miss Fairchild, on an idyllic farming estate, and given an elusive second chance at a happy family life. But their childhood wasn't the fairy tale everyone thinks it was. Miss Fairchild had rules. Miss Fairchild could be unpredictable. And Miss Fairchild was never, ever to be crossed. So, it sounds like they broke away from her, but they were never truly free. And then, many, many years later, when a body is discovered under the home they grew up in, the foster sisters find themselves thrust into the spotlight as key witnesses, or are they prime suspects? So sisterhood, secrets, love, and murder. Sally Hepworth writes such, sometimes subtly sinister, very impactful, very emotional characters. I just love her writing style. I love the way that she weaves characters together. There is also a level of relatability. Bear with me, I know I'm talking about murder, but a level of relatability with her characters. There's always a lot of questions. I just find myself very pulled into her storytelling and her writing, and I'm excited for this. I do love a sister book. I do love a dead body being found underneath the house. I mean, let's be honest here. So I will absolutely be tuning in for this book, and I'll let you guys know what I think. But she's great. She's absolutely great. She has such a big backlist too. So I have read a handful of her books. I still have a few more to go, but I'm excited for this one. Also on the dark and sinister side of things, we have Safe and Sound by Laura McHugh. So it says, in a town no one ever leaves, there are only so many places to hide. I love it. 6 years after their cousin vanished from their home while they were sleeping, two sisters set out to learn the truth behind what happened, even if it puts their own lives in danger. So as kids, Amelia and Kylie were found unharmed in their upstairs bedroom the night their teenage cousin Grace, who was babysitting them, vanished from their farmhouse in Beaumont, Missouri, leaving blood all over the kitchen. Ooh. So it says Grace was the first in their family to go to college instead of getting married and working in the meatpacking plant, and she was on the verge of escaping her dead-end town. Her disappearance is a warning to any local girl who dared to hope for better. So now as their own high school graduation looms, Amelia and Kylie dream about fleeing Beaumont, but the likelihood of that happening seems as low as that of Grace being found. When human remains are discovered in town, the sisters think they finally know who took Grace, but as they dig deeper into her past, they unearth long-buried secrets and a growing list of suspects. So they start to question how far someone would go to put a woman in her place and to cover up a crime. The answer is worse than they could have imagined, and in the end, it won't be Grace they're trying to save. They'll have to fight for their lives. So she is absolutely a new to me author. I will be honest, the premise of this book is what totally caught my eye. Where I was like, oh, like two sisters and their cousin goes missing and like disappears and nobody ever knows what happens to her. This is one of my favorite premises. So, or premises? It's fine. So it says an eerie mystery with gritty social realism. I'm just really, really intrigued by this one. So shame on me for not knowing more about Laura McHugh. She's an internationally best-selling author. She has my attention. She officially has my attention. And I'm guessing nobody is safe and sound in this town. Okay, next up is You'd Look Better as a Ghost by Joanna Wallace. So there are like so many different things that that makes a book grab my attention. And this one, the title totally intrigued me. And then I saw this cover where she's standing there with the hammer with like the blood dripping off of it. And I'm like, excuse me, what's happening here? I need to know more. So this is a comic thriller following the trials and tribulations of Clare, who is a part-time serial killer, yes please, who is keen to keep her favorite hobby a secret, despite the efforts of a determined blackmailer. So I immediately am wondering, is she a Dexter situation here? We're going to find out. So the night after her father's funeral, Claire meets Lucas at a bar. Lucas doesn't know it, but it's not a chance meeting. One thoughtless, mistyped email has put him in the crosshairs of an extremely put-out serial killer. But before they make eye contact, before Claire lets him buy her a drink, even before she takes him home and carves him up into little pieces, something about that night is very wrong, because someone is watching Claire. Someone is about to discover her murderous little hobby. But the thing is, I love this, it's not sensible to tangle with a part-time serial killer, even one who was distracted by attending a weekly bereavement support group and trying to get her art career off the ground. Will Claire finish off her blackmailer before her pursuer reveals all? Let the games begin. I love this. It just sounds so fresh and original, and I love the humor side of it. And I love that she's like a part-time serial killer. And it reminds me, like the bereavement group reminds me of Dead to Me, that TV show that I talk about all the time with Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini. So I don't know. This just, talk about like a cover and things grabbing one's attention. I'm here for it. I love some humor, and we'll see what it's all about. I believe this is maybe a debut. Yes, it is absolutely a debut. So promising new voice in crime fiction. I'm excited for it. I love discovering somebody new. You guys know that. You guys know that. And then for a book from an author I have read from before, Words, this is Missing White Woman by Kelly Garrett. So it says, the truth is never skin deep. I know a bunch of people who have also already had an arc of this and read this and had such great things to say about it. So I'm very excited for this book. So in this one, it says, a woman thinks she's waking up to a romantic vacation only to find a body in her rental home and her boyfriend gone. That's not a way to start your vacation. So it was supposed to be a romantic getaway weekend in New York City. Brianna's new boyfriend Ty took care of everything: train tickets, dinner reservations, 4-star luxury row house in Jersey City with a beautiful view of the Manhattan skyline. But when Bree comes downstairs on that final morning, there's a stranger lying dead in the foyer, and Ty is nowhere to be found. So a black woman alone in a new city, Bree is stranded and out of her depth, especially when it becomes clear that the dead woman is none other than Janelle Beckett, the missing woman the entire internet has become obsessed with. There's only one person Bree can turn to, her ex-best friend, a lawyer with whom she shares a very complicated past. I'm loving this. As the police and a social media mob close in, all looking for hashtag justice for Janelle, Bree realizes that the only way she can help Ty or herself is to figure out what really happened last night. So, I love a body under the house. I love a body mysteriously showing up in somebody else's vacation home. Not mine, but somebody else is totally fine with that. I love being reunited with an ex-best friend who you share a troubled, dark past with, and your mysteriously missing boyfriend. Everything about this book screams out to me. I love that the internet is in on this, that there is a missing woman that everyone has been searching for. I feel like it punches so many buttons of mine that I absolutely love. And Kelly Garrett is such a fantastic writer, and I'm just really excited for this one. The social media angle, just, I mean, do we trust your boyfriend? I don't even know what to think. But like I said, I've heard so many great things so far from people who have read it. So this one is also, I say it every month. I'm just going to keep saying it. This year is crushing the new releases. And there's a reason why I have spent a significant chunk of my reading on 2024 releases. So here we go. Here's another one. And when I say here's another one, I absolutely was talking about Kelly Garrett, and then I'm absolutely talking about the next book, which is Home is Where the Bodies Are by Geneva Rose. I have been talking about this book since she announced it because I am all in on this book. So another one of my pre-orders, if you can't tell, we're going to get some past timeline, I think, with our VHS tape here. So in this one, we have 3 estranged siblings who are forced to reunite after their mother passes away. So their father ran out on them 7 years earlier. Each one of the siblings has a reason, I suspect, for not talking to each other, whatever fractured their relationship. But they do come back together to clear out their mom's house. And as they're going through her things, they stumble upon a collection of home videos and decide to revisit some of those happier memories. I'm smiling because if you guys have seen me talk about this book, you know what's coming. And it says, however, nostalgia is cut short when one of the VHS tapes reveals a night back in 1999 that none of them have any recollection of. On screen, their father appears covered in blood. What follows is a dead body and a pact between their parents to get rid of it before the video abruptly ends. Everything about this book I'm excited for. So now Beth, Nicole, and Michael have to decide if they want to leave the past in the past or try to uncover the dark secret that their mother took to the grave. I'm team uncover the dark secret your mother took to the grave. Thank you very much. So excited. So excited. I love me some Geneva Rose, you guys. I really do. She can pivot in her storytelling, in her genre. She's just so fantastic. I'm such a huge fan of hers, and I don't want to oversight myself up a little bit, but I am so excited for this book. So this month is starting and it's ending on a high. But make no mistake, there's still one more to go. So the last book I have for April is Every Time I Go on Vacation, Someone Dies by Catherine Mack. So this was compared to kind of a vibe of the Finley Donovan series. We have a writer, we have a murder, I'm guessing based on the title of the book, and it sounds like hijinks and great fun, and I'm totally down for that, as you guys well know. It says 10 days, 8 suspects, 6 cities, 5 authors, 3 bodies, 1 trip to die for. Best-selling author Eleanor Dash just wants to get through her book tour in Italy and kill off her main character, Connor Smith, in the next of her vacation mystery series. Is that too much to ask? No, it is not too much to ask, Eleanor. But it says when an attempt is made on the real Connor's life, the handsome but infuriating con man she got mixed up with 10 years ago and can't get out of her life, Eleanor's enlisted to help solve the case. I do love a con man. contending with literary competitors, rabid fans, a stalker, and even her ex Oliver, who turns up unexpectedly. Theories are bandied about, and rivalries, rifts, and broken hearts are revealed. But who's really trying to get away with murder? So we're going to be in Italy. We're going to get like some escapism happening here. You guys know I love the Finlay Donovan series. I reviewed her latest book in my March wrap-up, which will be coming soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm just such a fan. I love humor mixed in with some murder, and I mean, I like anything kind of mixed in with murder, let's be honest. But I'm really excited for this. But the idea of a writer, I just love it. Again, punches all the buttons for me, and this is how I'm going to end the month, reading this book. So, very excited. I'm so excited for all of the new releases this month, and I'm so excited again to be partnering with Book of the Month. So thank you again, Book of the Month, for sponsoring today's video. Just a reminder, you guys, you can get your first book for only $5 using the code PASTEL. So be sure to check out the description box below. I have their website linked down below. I have the information about their podcast down there, the code, anything that you guys need. I just can't rave about them enough, and I'm just so excited to dive into all of these books. So let me know, what book are you planning to pick up first? What book has really caught your eye? What book did I not talk about that's coming out in April that you're super jazzed about? Let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video. Let me know how bingo is going. Definitely a lot of contenders on this list if you were looking for something new to put as one of your bingo prompts. And I'll see you in the March wrap up, and I'll see you in a book haul, and I'll see you guys in some more videos real soon. So take care, everybody. Thanks. Bye.